Number one, I think it goes without saying, just stay healthy. Obviously, that needs to happen. And when you talk about Paige, it's the fact that she had her injury history and issues in college, has had several major surgeries. Thank goodness she looks great. She looks fine now. She looks strong. But she's going to have to stay healthy. That's going to be big. And if she's going to continue to lead Dallas and be the alpha and be the lead guard, and if she's going to have to, if she's going to need to take on more volume, like if she's going to need to be great, like, because even right now, she's got to be really great for Dallas to be competitive. The roster's just not there yet. Her and Enrique, they both got to be great. Dejanay has to be really good. And I mean, they're all going to do their part, but I just, again, top to bottom, I don't think the Dallas roster is fully there yet. So you're relying on your number one pick superstar rookie, not fully relying on her, but you're needing her to be really good to great in order for you guys to even have a shot at a playoff push. The roster just isn't there yet. So if that's going to continue to be the case, you obviously need Paige to stay healthy. But again, that goes without saying. If you're going to become anything, if you're going to keep progressing, she's got to stay healthy. And we hope and pray that that continues to be the case, because she's been looking really good lately. The second thing is outlast Enrique. And I mean, since I'm such a fan of both of them, I tend to feel and believe that they can coexist. Enrique's only 28, so I think Enrique should have at least 2 or 3, maybe a few more, even like good years left in her. We'll see what ends up happening though, because I do still see a scenario where if Dallas isn't really progressing, if they feel like, I mean, they already know they're going to be building around Paige, but if it doesn't feel like Enrique is really the ideal shooting guard running mate along with Paige, if their styles just don't really seem to fit, I could see a world where at some point in the next few years, they look to move off of Enrique. While she has high value, mind you, they could make some kind of trade to really get stuff back. But again, I wouldn't just pull the plug like that prematurely. I would still rock with that. I want to see what Paige and Enrique can do together. Like I said, if they keep struggling this year, you might get a high draft pick next year. Maybe you get a Lauren Betts. Like maybe you could really come up. So I would stick with Paige and Enrique for the foreseeable future. One of the similarities I see between Dallas and Indiana with Caitlin, she has her Kelsey Mitchell. Paige has her Enrique. It's kind of a shooting guard who's been an elite scorer in this league before you even got here. But they have a play style that can work with you. So as long as they're able to work together, they like playing together, I think that tandem is only going to get better and better. So, but even with obviously Paige being the franchise player, being younger, to get to a point where she's going to become the best player in the WNBA, she would have to outlast Enrique. Could mean a couple of things. One thing that it could mean is she might have to become better than Enrique while she's still on her team. That's one scenario when I say outlast Enrique. It could mean possibly Dallas moves off of Enrique at some point, or it could mean she really takes over as the best player on their team while Enrique is still there. So outlast Enrique could mean either one of those things. It's not a way to say get her out of there, or, I mean, because again, there could be a scenario where Enrique, they move off of her, but even if she's still there, she's going to have to supersede Enrique at some point if she's going to be on a trajectory to become the best player in the whole league. Heck, some people might think she's better than Enrique now, obviously not scoring wise, but all the different ways she affects the game. Some people might make that argument now. I think this is probably the biggest thing for Dallas and for Paige going forward. Every elite team in the league, in the WNBA, this league is built on forwards and bigs, unicorns, versatile wings, power forwards, hybrid posts. This is a league built on great bigs. Caitlin Clark has Aaliyah Boston. Kelsey Plum has De'Erica Hamby and Cam Brink coming back in LA. Nafisa Collier in Minnesota. Jonquel Jones and Stewie in New York. You've got to have versatile forwards and bigs on your team in the WNBA to be considered elite. So that's the biggest thing for me with Dallas in terms of their roster going forward with Paige. But why I say that she might need this to help her become the best player in the league is because I just can't help but think about how she worked with a player like Sarah Strong this past year at UConn when they won the national championship, beat South Carolina. They were unstoppable. Having Paige in a two-man game, being able to play the pitch game, the catch and pitch DHO game with a forward or big that can shoot the ball at a high level, even just that can just shoot the ball, just a decent shooter, a versatile forward or big, that's going to open things up for Dallas, and it's going to open things up for Paige. The more Paige can be around players, other like highly skilled players that can shoot it, that play unselfish, that know how to move, how to play off handoffs and pin down action. It's basically like you're creating a new UConn. I think that's kind of what Diana was getting at in that clip when she said that Paige will be the best player in the WNBA one day. She kind of said it like, this is Paige's way. Like Paige is going to kind of turn that program into UConn, kind of like Caitlin is turning the Indiana Fever into Iowa. The team and the system is going to be built around them. So hopefully that coach was studying a lot of Gino and UConn offense and how they run a lot of their action with movement and pin downs and weak side action and exchanges and all the like 4 out 1 in stuff that like. And I think right now Dallas is so guard heavy. It's so Paige and Enrique, Dejanay, Maisha Hines Allen. I love her there. She's a versatile forward, but I'm talking about like a big, like some of the names I mentioned earlier. I'm talking like an elite big that is going to help take Dallas and Paige to another level. That's part of what I mean when I say the Dallas roster needs more work to really be super competitive and to really maximize Paige. But I think that kind of running mate, not just a great backcourt mate like Enrique, which also helps, but you get Paige an elite big, watch what happens with her assists, with her scoring. Watch how much easier the game gets and looks for her just by having that. So I also think that Paige needs to become the aggressor at some point. Now, I may be off base with here because look, like Paige knows what she's doing with the way she plays, her efficiency. She doesn't force the issue. She doesn't have. I mean, she knows when to be aggressive, but to be the best player in the WNBA, like I said about number 2, Outlast Enrique, she's going to have to start to be looking like I can take or make any shot I want. You guys literally can't stop me from doing anything I want. To be the best player as a point guard, as a lead guard in the WNBA, she's going to have to become, I think, a little more ruthless. Everyone loves Paige. They say that she's like the niece, like everyone's everyone thinks they're Paige's auntie. Like everyone loves Paige. Her teammates love her. Just, I mean, you just have to love her. And that's great. I think that's part of her superpower. That's part of what makes her great. Just in terms of how she, and look, you see some of her ruthlessness come out. There's a clip out there from one game recently, and it was against Minnesota because she was clapping at the ref. This almost reminded me of some Taurasi in her. She's clapping at the ref like, yo, 15's traveling every time. They caught it on the audio, on the mic. She's clapping like, yo, 15. She was talking about Shepherd on Minnesota. Traveling every time, like looking the ref dead in her eyes. Like Paige does have that competitive fire and beast in her. It's there. It definitely is there. I just think her, like, she's so humble, right? And so kind. And look, she might be, I think she's feeling out the league her rookie year. She's not going to be disrespectful. She's not going to be in some mess and stuff. Like, you're not going to see Paige in any of that. That's just not her nature. But in order to become the best player in the WNBA, like I said, when she matches up against Caitlin, she's gonna have to go up. She's gonna have to go at Caitlin. She's gonna have to go at Asia Wilson. She's going to have to go at Kelsey Plum. She's going to have to go at Courtney Williams. Like, she doesn't have to just outplay these people. She's going to have to go at them, I think, and be the aggressor. If we're like, that's how Diana became the best player in the league. It wasn't just winning. It was her mentality. It was her approach. It was the way she played the game and the fact that people knew. I'm not saying Paige has to be feared versus respected, because I think that's where I'm getting at. And she's always going to have that respect factor. And I'm not saying she has to be feared. I'm just saying in her approach, just the way she plays, the way she carries herself with her game and stuff. And she's going to get better and stronger and more confident. So we'll see more bravado out of her over the years. But I just think her nature, in terms of how she goes at the rest of the league, might have to be a little more aggressive over time. And her maybe, bring out some more of that attitude to really solidify herself as best player in the league one day. So last thing, number 5, goes to the comparison point that I don't think you can get away from if you're making this case about Paige becoming the best player in the league. She's going to be side by side in the same era with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin can't be winning in the same era as Paige if Paige is going to become the best player in the league. I don't think that's going to, I think Paige is going to need to be winning. That's part of the formula, I think, for her to be considered the best player in the league. And they both can't be winning. I mean, hey, maybe they take turns. Maybe, I mean, listen, they could both get a ring. They could both get a couple rings. Like, they could still both win in this era. Just like Marcus texted me recently and asked, like, are Paige and Caitlin going to become like the Sue and Diana of this era? Even though they're not friends, they didn't both go to UConn. They're not like best friends. There's not that thing. But just in terms of who they are to the league, 2 of the top guards in the league, they kind of had their own, not rivalry because they were best friends, but, and I think Paige and Caitlin, I don't think they're best friends, but I'm pretty sure they're cool. Like I know they don't have any like animosity. Like I know they played Team USA together. Like they're probably cool. They're probably friends. So when they play against each other, it's going to be all love, but they still need to go at each other. But I don't think it'll be Sue and Diana, because I don't think Sue Bird was ever considered. She was considered one of maybe the best point guard in the league in her prime. And I meant to look up. I can't remember off the top of my head. If anyone's watching can correct me on this. I can't remember if Sue Bird ever won an MVP. She may have gotten one, but I'm leaning towards thinking I don't think Sue Bird ever won an MVP. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. But I say that to say I don't specifically remember Sue Bird ever being considered as the best player in the league while Diana was also in the league with her. And Diana was younger, so her prime was in a time when Sue, when if there was a time when Sue was considered the best in the league, which I don't think there was that time, it would have been before Diana, but their times were so intertwined that I don't know if Sue ever got to that level where she was considered the best player in the league. Paige and Caitlin, I think, are both going to have legit arguments at points over the next 5 to 10 years. They're on the trajectory where both of them could be competing for best player in the league. So that's where, like, the Sue Diana thing I thought was interesting when Marcus brought it up, but they were both great, both elite, both Hall of Famers. Like it's a similar thing there, but I think Caitlin and Paige are going to be way more of, they're going to be challenging each other way more for that like top spot, especially if both of their teams get good, if both of their teams are competing for championships. But so I just think they're both going to be vying for that top spot. And if Caitlin is winning, if Indiana and Caitlin's a year ahead, Caitlin's got 1 year ahead on her. Indiana's got 1 year ahead where they're putting together. They've already started. You saw the offseason they had. You saw how they just played New York. Like Indiana feels like they're ready, and they might be after 1 year with Caitlin. So Caitlin's got a year head start on her. They're going to be in the same timeline, in the same era. So if Caitlin starts winning championships, if she starts really dominating and winning in Paige's era, that takes away from the case of Paige Bueckers becoming the best player in the league one day.